Alright, we're going to continue with our second series of videos on section 12.1, trig ratios. And in these videos we are concentrating on actually using the trig ratios to solve for the missing parts. So for example C here, we are looking for two sides of our triangle. And as always, I'm going to mark my frame of reference here. I'm standing over by this 34 because that's the angle that I know. So here's where I'm standing, and I'm going to mark my opposite side over here, and my adjacent side, and my hypotenuse. And as always, I'm going to write my SOHCAHTOA so I can refer back to that. And let's go ahead and let's start with A. So I'm going to use the opposite and my hypotenuse to solve for A. Opposite and hypotenuse, that's my sine function. So I know that the sine of my angle, which is 34 degrees, is equal to O, which has the letter A, variable A, over the hypotenuse, which I know is 7. Again, I'm going to just put this over 1 because I'm dealing with a proportion and I'd like each side to be a fraction. And I'll cross multiply, so I get 1 times A, which is just A, is equal to 7 sine 34 degrees. Notice I put the 7 in front. If you enter it after on your calculator, if you're not careful with parentheses, you'll get the wrong answer. And again, to the nearest tenth, we get that A is 3.9. So that's 3.9. Alright, now we have a couple different options for finding B. Now that I have two sides of the triangle, this is our hypotenuse here. Now that I have these two sides of the triangle, I could use Pythagorean theorem. So we'll do that second. Or I could use my trig ratios again, so I'm working with the adjacent side this time and the hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse, that's cosine. So now the cosine of 34 degrees is the adjacent side, which is B, over the hypotenuse, which is still 7. Put that over 1 so that I have a proportion. 1 times B is B. And then I have 7 times the cosine of 34 degrees, which gives me about 5.8. Now, if you prefer and you want to use the Pythagorean theorem after the first step, you can. So we would have A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. And I figured out that A was 3.9 squared. We're looking for B squared, and C was 7, so that's 7 squared. So I get 15.21 plus B squared is equal to 49. So we'll subtract 15.21 from both sides, so I get B squared is 33.79, and then we'll take the square root of both sides to get B is still 5.8. So whichever method you want to use to find B, this seems to be a little bit shorter, but if you like the Pythagorean better, you can do it this way. Alright, if you have questions, make sure you get those answered, and we'll see you in the next video.